All right. So in the transition, you go from your Dr. Sebi nutritional guide to your more raw Dr. Sebi nutritional guide. So it's the same ingredients. This is your base. This is your weaning process. So rest in peace, Dr. Sebi, for one. Also, anybody that doesn't know and isn't familiar with Alfredo Bowman should look him up, Dr. Sebi or Sebi. Look at his nutritional guide. It's probably been tampered with a little bit here and there, but that's a nice base for people to start. You're gonna take that guide, that's gonna be your weaning process. That's your base foods that you can create all types of ideas and dishes from. So from there, you go to a more raw lifestyle. You're getting more sun, because sun is raw energy. So, you're getting you're bouncing. Everything pushes on everything. Everything's in pressure with everything. Everything is in a closed environment, because all the space is filled with ether. There's no separation. So everything is bouncing off everything. So that's what everything's radiating. That's what radiation is it's vibrance, resonation is bouncing. So the sun is bouncing off you, raw foods bounce off you. All foods that, if you're sicker than a food, then it can make you healthier. It just reminds you of the energy that you forgot about. No food gives you energy. Everything just reminds you of what's already there. So it's remembrance, remembering, coming together, bringing the body back together is remembering. So all these foods, these are, if they're more natural, less hybrid, they remember themselves, they're more in the now, they make you remember yourself. When you put them in your body, they bounce off of you, and then your tissue pushes back, and it's a reminder process. So as you do that, the herbs are great, what people call astringents. There's no such thing as an astringent because everything is pushing. When you inhale, you're pushing your lungs out. When you exhale, you push your lungs in. When you do a push-up, you're pushing up. If you're doing a pull down, it's just a reverse push. So everything is a push in life. There's no pulling in life. There's no vacuum. There's no separation. There's no incompleteness in life. Life is perfect. So there's no such thing as an astringent. There's no pulling power. Everything, herbs, or what people call astringents, they push on the tissue. The tissue pushes back, and then there's a release. Whatever's on the tissue is released in that process of the pushing, that jarring process. So that you got really things that know themselves. They vibrate at a high level, high pitch. They go into the system. They remind you of yourself. They fill all those voids. They bounce off the tissue. These herbs, because they're more ancient than any of these foods we're eating now. Any of the cultivars we're eating now. And they push on the tissue and remind they push on the body everywhere they go throughout their path, and remind everything it touches of what it is, because it knows with itself. So the herbs, incorporating more herbs. So you're going from Sebi to more raw Sebi, more sunshine, more raw energy. Your herbs, more ancient foods, less broken foods. Because the more broken the food is, the more that you have to breathe to perform the alchemy to complete the food, to process it. So that it eats from you, it takes from you at that point. Because at that point, then you're the alchemist, you're healthier than it takes from you. So from then, as you incorporate the herbs more and more in your life, you should fast, intermittent fasting, and then fast maybe once a week, or then you start juice fasting, coconut water fasting. You should be drinking your herbal teas. You can drink your root teas to stay grounded. That's a great way to stay grounded without taking on dense foods and without breaking ketosis. So you take your tea, because coconut water is going to break ketosis. These things are going to break ketosis. Smoothies are going to break ketosis. The tea, distilled water with the herbs, because the herbs will be readily soaked in distilled water. Distilled water is like rainwater. It's like thick sky, basically. So it'll absorb the herbs quicker, because it's naked water, basically. So the water will, it's open. So you fill it with the herbs a lot more easier than water that has inert minerals in it, or if it's acidic. So it's good to go with the distilled water and the herbs, and for your tea, for your fasting, to really start to extend your fast from one day to beyond, and beyond and beyond and beyond, and then you gradually reduce. So then you're going through this process of extended rehydration, because your whole life you've been dehydrating all the organs and dehydrating your eyes and your skin and all that. So you're chronically dehydrating the organs, which change. That's the first disease, really, essentially. Swelling and dehydration. Because you eat something acidic, it erodes the cells, the body, the mucous membrane tries to collect those dead cells and collect the poison of the acid substance to expel it. If you continue to take in those acids, then the mucus builds and builds and builds, and then it solidifies, calcifies. Whatever organ that is happening in, that organ becomes suffocated and dehydrated, and then it starts to malfunction, and then the harmony within the body changes because the organ starts to bloat. It takes on water to compensate because its pH is now shifted because it's become more acidic. So that changes the whole posture of the body. It changes, then that organ starts to push on other organs because it's swollen, and every other organ starts to malfunction. So that as you rehydrate and decalcify the body, and basically the body's starting to rust. Basically, you decalcify the body, and you go through your rehydration process. You're changing your water. So as you fast and change your water, you're changing your emotions. The breath work changes your thoughts because air is thought, water is emotion. So you're changing your water and you're changing your emotions. So you want to go from there is just your portion control. Then the small changes all. So the small changes make the subtle ripples make the biggest effects in the long run. Because you want to gradually, again, it's like you push, the male principle pushes, then you get back to that female principle, knowing when to stop. Like, okay, I know when I'm, not to go too far, not to overextend myself, not to hold my breath or breathe in too much. Take just what I need for now so I can regroup and go back and get a little bit further each time, and I can enjoy the process from A to Z. And it's not miserable. So it's just density reduction. That's it. Then you just have less dense meals, and you space them out, and you have less dense portions, and then better food combinations, not mixing fats and sugars. The food combination is critical, because if you mix bad food combination, then it creates alcohol in the body, and then you are already an alcoholic because whenever a bad food combination occurs, like fat and sugar, something doesn't get processed. So then say the sugar doesn't get processed, then the sugar ferments, that creates the fungus, and then that sugar it's creating alcohol at some level. So you're creating an alcoholic when you eat carbs, or when you have when you have sugar and fat together in general. And anytime you take on more than 30 grams of protein in a sitting, all the excess grams are gonna get converted to sugar. So just take that into account, that you can only process only 30 grams of protein typically per 4-hour period. So you gotta really just, as far as the portion control, just take respect to that 30 grams of protein is all you need in 4 hours at the most. So anything more than that's gonna get converted to sugar. And the more sugar you have, the more you need bitters, herbs, to counter the sugar, to balance the pH out, or you're going to create fungus. So candida, thrush. So and then thrush expresses itself as eczema and all types of skin discoloration. Because any liver fungus is going to express itself in the skin. And then it gets in the brain too. Candida doesn't have any boundary. So anyway, you want to eat seasonally and in harmony in the day. Eat in accord with the circadian rhythm. You want to align with control. You have no control personally, but you can align with the overall universal will, which is your truest will, which wants what's best for you, because there's no separation. If you see everything as you, then you realize that the universe never forgot about you because it is you. So you align with control. You have no personal will. The truest universal will is your only will, and that's the only thing that is moving everything. Everything else is being crushed and going against the Tao. So anyway, then after you start eating seasonally and in harmony throughout your day, eating at the right times, not eating after 7 p.m., and then definitely not after 9 p.m., never really eating before noon, and not ever really after 7 p.m. You shouldn't definitely after 9 p.m. Especially not sugars. Especially nothing acidic after 9 p.m., after sundown. The body's going into that alkaline state, it's trying to detox. So you want to go, after you incorporating all this in your reduction, you're going to get into more and more breath work. After you transition from sebi to raw to more herbs to fasting now to juice days maybe to now you are consciously rehydrating and prehydrating to where if you do drink or smoke or eat things you shouldn't eat, you hydrate beforehand so that you don't over binge because you're already full on dehydration. So it's impossible to binge the same because this will bring you back more to yourself if you're hydrated. The more dehydrated you are, the more the body is gonna pretty much stall and seize up and the thoughts don't flow, so then you're probably just gonna keep binging and stay stuck in the repetitive psychosis in the moment. So you do the breath work after you get to the prehydration point, and then you're eating seasonally now, you're doing everything more in rhythm and more in harmony and reducing gradually and incorporating different practices in your life. Then you can incorporate the breath work. This is when you're starting to become more advanced in your daily practice. So the breath work is your true astringent. So on every exhale, you want to push in. So when you exhale, you clear it, evacuate, push in, massage the organs on the exhale. Massage, hold the exhale, massage the organs, massage all these digestive organs, massage into the liver and the pancreas and all this. Massage it softly, and you can start to feel when you push back with your abs too. So then you have an astringent push, then it pushes back, and then whatever's there is released. And so instead of you needing to fill the cup, you keep making the cup smaller and smaller. Its true size really, because it's just been swelled and swollen and abused all your life. So after that point, after you're getting more breath work in your life, then you can advance to dry fasting, so you can give your kidneys some rest, intermittent dry fasting, and then beyond that. And that just requires a lot of massage, constant massage. And then you're gonna definitely wanna fill the void with the music, because the vibration is gonna come in. Vibration is color, it is light, so it is music. So, and if you change your scenery, your travel, you wanna get different colors, and you wanna have different expressions. So when you go through your fasting period, you're filling the void with something productive instead of something destructive, or complementary, I should say. So you're going to incorporate more music, more expression, because the music will fill the void. You are music personified, basically. So the music is light, body process is light. There's different densities of light. The body's always feeding. You can choose the different density or level of light that you want. You can train it to feed off of different levels or layers of light, different frequencies of light. So music is just another frequency that fills the void in that the body, all the organs process light. So music's a great way to fill the void. So, and to bring you back to yourself, to bounce off them walls. Everything's in a string, everything's pushing off everything. So music is nice, especially if you do it in accord with the Tao of the day. With the flow of the circadian rhythm. Align with the control. Align with the momentum that's already happening. So, compensation. Self-induced fevers for exorcism. So compensation would be when you're over masculine or whatever, or overly anything. Whenever you're overly anything, too much of anything, you're gonna go through your compensation and you're gonna go more outward in your life. So, you have this weight in your life saying that I'm not enough of something. That's your physical or your mental weight that becomes physical. So you have to eat to match that mental weight because that weight has to become physical. That's just metaphysics becoming physical. So as that process happens, you now have these, you have all this light in you, or all this supposed light in you, all this energy in you. So in that process, you've shifted the pH, and you have to burn this light off. So that's an exorcism. You have to have a self-induced fever, exorcism of demons. So you burn, you heat up like a self-cleaning oven. You burn that stuff off with a workout or expression or whatever it is, but it's just a form of exorcism. Self-induced fever, that's the compensation. That's the, I go to work so that I can get money, so that I can get food, so that I can have energy to go to work, so that I can get money, so that I can buy food, to have energy to go to work. So you see the never-ending cycle of, of eating your tail. That's the compensation, not gradual progress life. So, in your movements, you always want to respect the circadian rhythm. And if you're too acidic, everything yo-yos back. So you got to be conscientious of that. So, other than that, once you get the balance down, you just play. You just raise the potency by doing, not doing. The more that you don't do the things that aren't designed for you, the more your potency rises. So then that's your potential rises. So then your attraction rises. So then you live between life and death. That potential between life and death grows. So you just highly potent as you reduce. As you remove, you're removing everything that was never really there anyway. So you have the center of the circle, which is your true presence, which is immortal, and then you might have all these lifetimes or bodies or whatever you want to call it, kind of like the inner side of an ear. And all this stuff gets slowly chipped away at until you remember that it was never there. And that you've always just been right here, immortal, with abundance, never needing, no separation. Because it's oneness in heaven. So why would you need your hope? Why would you need telepathy or empathy if everything's one? So that's that video. This is the reduction is production lifestyle, the process from sebi to raw to herbs to fasting to incorporating more juicing in your day to reduce to more and more liquids. And then to stay on liquids, you might not be able to do the sebi list at first. Then eventually you can do the sebi list. But just whatever you got to do to get to the next step, to gradually get to the next place that you have to get to without judgment. Because the judgment is just too heavy. The judgment is another concept. So you have to have identity to judge from, to judge. So that binds you. So that which has no form can enter where there's no space. So judgment's too heavy to enter where there is no space.